Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a deep dive into a collection of wisdom that has echoed through centuries, the 40 advices of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani.
Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani, a luminary of Islamic spirituality who lived in the 11th and 12th centuries, is revered for his profound understanding of the human condition and the path to spiritual enlightenment.
Hmm.
His teachings, even after almost a millennium, continue to resonate with seekers across cultures and time.
It's fascinating how these ancient advices can still feel so relevant today. I'm excited to unpack them with you and see how they might offer guidance for our own lives. The first advice, titled The Beneficial Speech, really caught my attention. It seems to be about the power of words and the responsibility that comes with sharing knowledge. What's the essence of what Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani is conveying here?
He immediately dives into the heart of the matter's sincerity. He's saying that true communication, especially when imparting knowledge or guidance, must stem from a place of genuine intention. Empty speech, devoid of sincerity, is like a shell without a pearl or a bone without meat. Imagine biting into a date expecting the sweet, succulent fruit only to find it hollow. That's what insincere speech is like. It lacks substance and nourishment.
It's a powerful image that really drives home the point. And he goes even deeper, warning that if the speaker is seeking worldly gain, the listener won't benefit. It's like he's saying, check the speaker's heart before you open your ears. I'm curious, how do you think this applies to the constant barrage of information we face today?
That's where it gets really fascinating. Think about it. We're bombarded with information from all sides: social media, news outlets, podcasts like this one. It's easy to get swept up in the noise and lose sight of what's truly valuable. This advice encourages us to be discerning listeners. It's a call to pause, to question the source, and to consider the motivation behind the message. Are we hearing genuine insights or just cleverly packaged opinions designed to capture our attention?
It's a reminder that we have a responsibility as consumers of information. We need to be critical thinkers and not just passively absorb everything that's thrown at us. Otherwise, we risk filling our minds with empty shells, so to speak. Now, moving on to the second advice, knowledge. I'm struck by how the Sheikh connects knowledge to contentment. He seems to be suggesting that true knowledge liberates us from chasing after worldly desires and material wealth. Could you elaborate on what he means by true knowledge?
In Islamic thought, knowledge goes beyond mere accumulation of facts and figures. It's about understanding the divine, comprehending our place within the grand tapestry of creation, and grasping the deeper meaning and purpose of our existence. It's this type of knowledge that brings a sense of fulfillment and contentment that doesn't rely on external possessions or fleeting pleasures. Imagine you're in a pitch-black room feeling lost and disoriented. Suddenly, a light is switched on, illuminating the space and revealing its beauty and order. That's what true knowledge does. It illuminates the path and brings a sense of peace and clarity.
It's a powerful shift in perspective, from chasing after things that ultimately leave us empty to seeking knowledge that nourishes our souls and brings a sense of lasting fulfillment. This leads us naturally to the next advice, our priorities, where Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani urges us to examine what we truly prioritize in our lives. He challenges us to place our spiritual obligations above worldly pursuits. How does this play out in our daily lives? What does it mean to prioritize our relationship with the divine above all else?
It's about making conscious choices in how we spend our time, energy, and resources. Think of it like managing your finances. You have a limited budget and you need to decide where to allocate your funds. Similarly, we have a limited amount of time and energy, and we need to choose how to invest them. Are we investing in things that bring us closer to God, or are we getting caught up in pursuits that ultimately distract us from what truly matters?
It's about aligning our actions with our values, making sure that our daily choices reflect our commitment to our spiritual growth and our connection with God. The next advice, being a double-standard hypocrite, takes a much sterner tone. The Sheikh uses strong language to condemn those who engage in double standards, presenting themselves one way outwardly but behaving differently in private. Why is this such a significant issue in his teachings?
Sincerity is the bedrock of Islamic spirituality. It's the cornerstone upon which our entire relationship with God rests. Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani is highlighting the danger of outward piety that masks inward hypocrisy. It's like building a beautiful house on a foundation of sand. It might look impressive from the outside, but it's vulnerable to collapse. He's urging us to cultivate a deep-rooted sincerity that permeates every aspect of our lives, our thoughts, words, and actions.
It's a reminder that our focus should be on purifying our hearts and aligning our inner and outer selves, rather than simply trying to appear righteous to others. Now, advice number 5, know what you are saying, seems to focus on mindfulness in our communication. What guidance does the Sheikh offer on this topic?
He cautions against engaging in idle talk, emphasizing the weight and impact of our words. Every word we utter is recorded, even if it seems insignificant in the moment. This advice encourages us to cultivate a heightened sense of self-awareness, to pause before we speak, and to consider the potential consequences of our words. Imagine you're throwing pebbles into a still pond. Each pebble creates ripples that spread outward, disrupting the tranquility of the water. Similarly, our words can create ripples that affect those around us, so we need to be mindful of the impact we're having.
It's a reminder that words have power. They can build bridges or create walls, heal or hurt, inspire or discourage. We should choose our words carefully and use them intentionally to create positive change in the world. Now let's move on to a slightly different theme with advice number 9, repentance. Here, the Sheikh shifts the focus to the transformative power of sincere repentance. It's a message of hope, a reminder that no matter what we've done, we can always turn back to God with a sincere heart and seek forgiveness. What's the significance of repentance in Islamic teachings?
Repentance, or tawbah, is the key that unlocks the door to spiritual renewal and divine forgiveness. It's more than just saying, "I'm sorry." It's a profound inner transformation that involves acknowledging our wrongdoing, feeling genuine remorse, and making a firm commitment to change our behavior. It's a process of purification that cleanses the heart and allows us to reconnect with God's mercy and love. Think of it like tending to a garden that's been neglected. You remove the weeds, till the soil, plant new seeds, and nurture them with care. Similarly, repentance is a process of tending to the garden of our hearts, removing the weeds of negativity and planting the seeds of righteousness.
It's a beautiful image of spiritual growth and renewal. Now let's
Yes.
explore a practice that's central to Islamic spirituality, dhikr, which is the focus of advice number 12. What is dhikr, and what are the benefits of engaging in this practice?
Dhikr, which means remembrance, is the practice of remembering and invoking God. It's about keeping God at the forefront of our minds and hearts throughout the day. There are various forms of dhikr. Some involve reciting specific phrases or verses from the Quran, like repeating the name of God or praising his attributes. Imagine a traveler in a vast desert, constantly checking their compass to stay on course. Dhikr is like our spiritual compass, helping us stay connected to God amidst the distractions of daily life. Other forms involve silent contemplation, focusing the heart and mind on the divine. This practice is like polishing a mirror, removing the dust and grime of worldly attachments so that it can reflect the divine light more clearly.
It sounds like a powerful practice for cultivating a deeper connection with God and bringing a sense of peace and tranquility to our lives. Let's delve into another aspect of Islamic spirituality with advice number 18, which unpacks the concept of modesty. This is such a complex concept, often misunderstood or misinterpreted. What's Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani's perspective on true modesty?
He makes a distinction between outward modesty, the way we dress and behave, and the true essence of modesty, which is about feeling a sense of shame before God. It's an inward state of humility and awareness of our imperfections and limitations. Imagine standing before a wise and compassionate elder, feeling a sense of awe and reverence in their presence. True modesty is like that. It's about recognizing our place before the divine and approaching God with humility and respect.
So it's about recognizing that true modesty is rooted in our relationship with God, not just about adhering to external rules or social expectations. Let's dive into another profound theme with advice number 22, which offers a reflection on the fleeting nature of this world. This is a concept that resonates across many spiritual traditions. What's unique about Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani's perspective?
He uses a striking analogy to drive home the point about the deceptive allure of the material world. He compares the world to a serpent in beautiful disguise, something that might appear enticing but ultimately leads to destruction. Think of a shimmering mirage in the desert. It promises relief but ultimately leads to disappointment. That's how he portrays the allure of worldly possessions and pleasures. They can distract us from our true purpose and lead us astray from the path of spiritual growth.
It's a powerful image that reminds us to be discerning and to prioritize what truly matters, our relationship with God and the eternal rewards of the afterlife. How does this connect to the broader framework of Islamic teachings?
It's closely tied to the concept of dunya, which refers to the material world and its temporary nature. The dunya is often portrayed as a test, a place where we're constantly presented with choices. Do we chase after fleeting desires or prioritize our connection with God? Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani is reminding us that this life is a journey, a preparation for the eternal life that awaits us.
It's a call to live with intention and to be mindful of where we're placing our attention and energy. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's explore advice number 11, which focuses on the importance of following the Prophet Muhammad's example, known as the Sunnah, as a foundation for spiritual growth. Could you explain what the Sunnah encompasses and why it holds such significance in Islam?
The Sunnah is like a detailed map that guides us on the path of righteousness. It encompasses the Prophet Muhammad's words, actions, and approvals, how he lived, how he prayed, how he interacted with others. It's the practical application of the Quran's teachings, showing us how to embody Islamic principles in our thoughts, words, and actions.
It's about striving to emulate the Prophet's character and live in accordance with God's will, not just by following the rules, but by embodying the spirit of Islam in every aspect of our lives. Let's move on to advice number 14, which delves into the importance of consuming lawful and pure sustenance, known as halal. What does halal mean within the context of Islamic dietary laws?
Halal, meaning permissible in Arabic, encompasses a wide range of guidelines regarding food and drink. It goes beyond just avoiding certain foods like pork and alcohol. It also involves ensuring that animals are slaughtered humanely and that food is prepared in a way that maintains its purity. Imagine you're building a house. You carefully select high-quality materials to ensure its strength and durability. Similarly, the concept of halal encourages us to be mindful of what we put into our bodies, recognizing that pure and wholesome food nourishes not only our physical health but also our spiritual well-being.
The Sheikh even connects the purity of the food we consume to the purity of our hearts, suggesting that consuming forbidden substances can darken the heart and hinder our spiritual progress. It's a fascinating connection that encourages us to think about our relationship with food in a more holistic way. Finally, let's wrap up this part of our deep dive with advice number 24, which outlines the qualities of a true disciple, emphasizing the need for complete surrender and trust in one's spiritual guide. Could you elaborate on the concept of discipleship, or murid, in Sufism and its role in spiritual development?
Imagine embarking on a challenging mountain climb. You wouldn't do it alone, would you? You'd seek an experienced guide who knows the terrain, understands the dangers, and can lead you safely to the summit. That's what a spiritual guide or sheikh does in Sufism. They guide seekers on the path to spiritual enlightenment. The relationship between a disciple and their sheikh is built on deep trust and mutual respect. The disciple surrenders their ego and submits to the guidance of the sheikh, trusting in their wisdom and experience. It's a journey of transformation that requires humility, a willingness to learn, and a deep yearning for closeness to God.
It's fascinating to see how these ancient advices offer guidance for personal and spiritual development, even in our modern world. We'll continue exploring the wisdom of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani in our next deep dive. Stay tuned.
It's remarkable how Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani seamlessly blends practical advice with profound spiritual insights. His teachings aren't just about rituals or dogma, they're about cultivating a way of being in the world that's rooted in awareness, compassion, and connection to the divine.
Absolutely. His advices offer a holistic approach to life, addressing not just our outward actions, but also our inner thoughts and motivations. I'm eager to delve into more of his wisdom. What's the next advice you'd like to explore?
Let's unpack advice number 6, the light of a believer. It touches upon a fascinating concept, the illuminating power of sincere faith and closeness to God.
Intriguing. What exactly does the Sheikh say about this illuminating power?
He describes how those who are genuinely connected to the divine are granted a special light, a spiritual illumination that allows them to perceive the world differently. It's like they're seeing with a new set of eyes, perceiving spiritual realities that remain hidden from those who are less connected.
That reminds me of the saying, we see the world not as it is, but as we are. Our perception is shaped by our inner state, by the lens through which we view reality.
Precisely. The Shaykh even mentions that those with the spiritual light can see the spirits of angels, prophets, and the hearts of truthful people. It's a reminder that there's more to reality than what our physical senses perceive. There's a hidden dimension, a spiritual realm that becomes accessible through sincere faith and closeness to God.
It's like there's a whole universe of beauty and wonder that we're often blind to because we're so caught up in the material world. This advice encourages us to cultivate a deeper connection with the divine in order to see the world through a more illuminated lens. What's next on our journey through these advices?
Let's take a look at advice number 7. A hypocrite hates me. This one delves into the reactions people might have to the Sheikh's message, and it gets a bit controversial.
This sounds like it might have challenged some of his listeners. What does he have to say about this?
He boldly states that only those who are enemies of God or ignorant of him would hate him for speaking the truth. He also suggests that sincere people, those who are devoted to action rather than empty words, would love him.
It's like he's drawing a line in the sand, separating those who are genuinely seeking truth from those who are clinging to falsehood or hypocrisy.
Exactly. He also points out that he's loved by those who adhere to the traditional understanding of Islam and hated by those who follow innovative beliefs. He's not afraid to address the inevitable resistance that comes with challenging the status quo and speaking truth to power.
It's a reminder that speaking the truth, even when it's difficult or unpopular, is a powerful act that can expose hypocrisy and inspire genuine seekers. Shall we move on to the next advice?
Let's explore advice number 8, when to address the people. It focuses on the responsibility of speaking and sharing knowledge, particularly in matters of faith and spirituality.
This sounds like an important topic, especially in today's world where everyone has a platform and an opinion. What guidance does this sheikh offer on this?
He emphasizes that one should only address people about spiritual matters after deep, steady reflection and a profound understanding of both the outer aspects and inner realities of Islam. It's not about simply parroting what you've heard or read. It's about internalizing the teachings and living them out in your own life before attempting to guide others. Imagine a doctor who hasn't studied medicine or a teacher who hasn't mastered their subject. Would you trust their guidance? Similarly, spiritual guidance should come from those who have genuinely walked the path and attained a level of wisdom and understanding that allows them to guide others effectively.
So it's not something to be taken lightly. It requires preparation, careful consideration, and a deep sense of responsibility.
Exactly. He even goes on to say that one should only speak if there's a genuine need, such as if no one else in the community is qualified to do so, or if one feels a strong inner calling from the heart to share the message. It's about speaking from a place of authenticity and genuine concern for the well-being of others, not for personal gain or recognition.
It's a reminder that our words should be rooted in wisdom, compassion, and a sincere desire to guide others toward truth and righteousness. What's next on our list of advices?
Let's dive into advice number 10, safety from Iblis. This one delves into the challenges of resisting negative influences and maintaining spiritual integrity.
This is a topic that resonates across many spiritual traditions. We all face temptations and distractions that can pull us away from our spiritual aspirations.
Absolutely. The Sheikh acknowledges that Iblis, the embodiment of evil and temptation, constantly tries to sway us from the path of righteousness. He advises seeking refuge in God, fortifying our hearts with prayer, and appealing for his help in resisting these negative influences. Think of a ship navigating a stormy sea. The waves crash against it, the winds buffet it, but the captain stays focused on the compass, keeping the ship on course. Similarly, when we face temptations or challenges, we need to stay anchored in our connection with God, seeking his guidance and support to navigate these turbulent waters.
It's a reminder that we're not alone in our struggles and that we can draw strength from our connection to the divine.
He also emphasizes the importance of cultivating positive thoughts about God, his prophets, and righteous people. Imagine surrounding yourself with uplifting and inspiring individuals. Their positive energy would rub off on you, influencing your thoughts and actions. Similarly, by focusing our minds on the divine, on the examples of those who have attained spiritual excellence, we create a positive inner environment that helps us resist negativity and stay aligned with our spiritual goals.
It's like we're building a spiritual immune system, strengthening our resistance to negative influences by surrounding ourselves with positivity, both internally and externally. Shall we move on to the next advice?
Yes, let's explore advice number 13, humbleness. It highlights the significance of humility as a cornerstone of spiritual growth.
Humility is such a powerful quality often overlooked in our achievement-oriented society. What insights does the Sheikh offer on this topic?
He emphasizes that humility is essential for spiritual purification and elevation. It's about recognizing our place in the grand scheme of things, acknowledging our limitations, and approaching life with a sense of gratitude and awe. Imagine a tiny seed falling to the ground. It surrenders to the earth, allowing itself to be buried and seemingly forgotten. Yet from this humble surrender, it sprouts, grows, and eventually blossoms into a magnificent tree. Similarly, humility allows us to let go of our ego's need for recognition and control, creating space for spiritual growth and transformation.
It's a reminder that true greatness lies not in our outward accomplishments, but in our inner state of humility and devotion to righteousness. What's next on our journey through these advices?
Let's delve into advice number 15, the way to remain patient. This one offers guidance on navigating life's challenges and maintaining composure amidst difficulties.
Patience is a virtue that's often tested in the face of adversity. What insights does the Sheikh provide on cultivating patience?
He suggests shifting our perspective when we're confronted with trials and tribulations. Imagine you're carrying a heavy load and it's weighing you down. Someone comes along and offers to share the burden, making it lighter and easier to bear. That's what the Sheikh encourages us to do, to shift our focus from our own problems to the struggles of others. By recognizing that others might be facing even greater hardships, we can cultivate gratitude for what we have and find the strength to endure our own challenges.
It's a powerful reminder to practice empathy and to appreciate the blessings in our own lives, even when things are difficult.
He also suggests remembering God's foreknowledge and care for us. It's like a child who trusts in their parents' love and protection, even when they don't understand everything that's happening. By surrendering to God's will and trusting in His plan, we can find peace and solace amidst the storms of life.
It's about recognizing that we're not alone in our struggles and that we can draw strength and guidance from our connection to the divine.
He also encourages us to reflect on our own shortcomings and repent for our sins when facing hardships. It's about taking responsibility for our choices and acknowledging that our actions can sometimes contribute to our difficulties. This self-reflection can help us identify areas where we need to grow and make amends for any harm we might have caused.
It's about approaching challenging situations with humility, seeking guidance from the divine, and using them as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. Shall we explore another piece of advice?
Let's discuss advice number 16, avoid much talk. This one focuses on the importance of mindful speech and avoiding excessive or meaningless conversations.
This is a topic that resonates across many wisdom traditions. In a world filled with noise and distractions, it's easy to get caught up in pointless chatter.
Exactly. The Sheikh advises against excessive merrymaking gossip and wasting money on frivolous pursuits. He encourages limiting time spent in social gatherings that don't serve a specific purpose or benefit. Imagine you're filling a container with water. You can choose to fill it with clean, pure water that nourishes and sustains, or you can fill it with dirty, contaminated water that pollutes and harms. Similarly, our minds are like containers, and we can choose to fill them with meaningful and uplifting conversations, or we can allow them to be polluted with negativity and gossip.
So it's about being intentional about our social interactions and choosing to engage in conversations that are meaningful and beneficial.
Precisely. He also advises against initiating conversations unless there's a specific purpose or benefit. It's not about being antisocial, but rather about being mindful of the energy we expend in social interactions and ensuring that our conversations contribute positively to our well-being and the well-being of others.
It's about recognizing that our words have weight and that we should use them wisely and intentionally.
He reminds us to be mindful of the recording angels, those celestial beings who record our every word and deed. This awareness encourages us to choose our words carefully and to avoid speaking words that we might later regret. It's like having a camera constantly recording our actions, prompting us to be more conscious of how we're behaving.
It's a reminder to live with integrity and to strive to align our words and actions with our highest values. What else does he emphasize in this advice?
He encourages us to fill our conversations with words of remembrance, recitation of the Quran, and discussions that benefit ourselves and others. Imagine a garden filled with fragrant flowers and nourishing fruits. That's what our conversations can be like, a source of beauty, nourishment, and inspiration.
It's about cultivating a practice of speaking with intention and awareness, choosing words that uplift and inspire, rather than those that harm or create negativity. Shall we explore another advice?
Let's delve into advice number 17, follow the Sharia. It highlights the importance of adhering to Islamic law as a foundation for spiritual growth.
The Sharia, for those unfamiliar, encompasses a wide range of guidelines for Muslim life. What does the Sheikh specifically emphasize in this advice?
He urges us to observe the 5 daily prayers fast during Ramadan and fulfill all other obligatory duties outlined in Islamic law. These acts of worship are like pillars that support the structure of our faith, providing a framework for our spiritual practice and connecting us to the divine. He also encourages us to go beyond the obligatory acts and engage in supererogatory acts of worship, which are voluntary and done for the sake of drawing closer to God. These acts are like the intricate decorations that adorn a building, enhancing its beauty and adding depth and richness to the overall structure.
So it's about following the basic guidelines of Islam, while also seeking opportunities to go above and beyond in our spiritual practice, expressing our love and devotion to God in creative and meaningful ways. What else does he emphasize?
He advises us to practice strict observance of Islamic rulings and avoid seeking out concessions or loopholes that allow for leniency in certain situations. Imagine you're training for a marathon. You wouldn't take shortcuts or skip training sessions, would you? You'd push yourself to follow the training plan diligently, knowing that it's essential for achieving your goal. Similarly, the Sheikh suggests that constantly relying on concessions can weaken our commitment to Islamic principles and potentially lead us astray from the path of righteousness.
It's about approaching our religious obligations with sincerity and dedication, striving to embody the spirit of the law rather than simply seeking the easiest way out. What's next on our list of advices?
Let's take a look at advice number 19, this world. This one offers a powerful reflection on the nature of worldly life and its limitations.
This is a theme that's often explored in spiritual teachings. It's easy to get caught up in the allure of the material world and forget about our true purpose.
Exactly. The Sheikh describes the world as fleeting, transitory, and full of misfortunes. He emphasizes that even the wisest and most accomplished individuals can't escape the hardships and difficulties of worldly life. It's like a beautiful tapestry that's intricately woven, but ultimately fragile and susceptible to tears and fading. He reminds us that the comforts and pleasures of this world are temporary, and that our attachment to them can be a source of suffering.
It's a reminder that suffering is a part of the human experience, regardless of our status or accomplishments. We all face challenges, losses, and disappointments.
He even compares the world to a lion with its jaws wide open, a stark reminder that death is always lurking, and we should be mindful of our mortality. He's not trying to scare us, but rather to encourage us to live with intention, recognizing that our time in this world is precious and that we should use it wisely.
It's like waking up from a dream and realizing that the experiences we had were fleeting and impermanent. It prompts us to question what truly matters and to focus on building something more enduring.
He also quotes a saying of the Prophet Muhammad that emphasizes that true life is the life of the hereafter. He's urging us to shift our focus from the temporary pleasures and pursuits of this world to the eternal rewards of the afterlife. It's like investing in something that will yield long-term returns, rather than spending all our resources on things that will quickly lose their value.
It's a powerful call to live with intention, to make choices that will benefit us, not just in this life, but also in the next. Shall we delve into another advice?
Let's discuss advice number 20, sacrifice your passionate desire. This one is a bit challenging, but it offers profound insights into the importance of self-control and detachment from worldly desires.
This is a theme that's central to many spiritual paths. Our desires can be powerful forces that pull us in different directions.
Exactly. The Sheikh reminds us that our lower selves, our egos, are constantly seeking gratification and fulfillment in the material world. It's like a hungry beast that's never satisfied, always craving more. He encourages us to recognize these desires, to understand their nature, and to learn to detach from them. This doesn't mean denying ourselves all pleasures or living an austere life. It's about finding a balance, recognizing that true happiness and fulfillment come from connecting with something greater than ourselves.
It's about shifting our focus from seeking happiness in external things to cultivating a sense of inner peace and contentment that's independent of external circumstances.
He shares a story of a sheikh who advises his disciples to remain steadfast in their righteousness, even when faced with injustice, criticism, or betrayal. He encourages them not to react negatively to praise or become overly attached to worldly comforts. It's like a tree that stands tall and strong, unmoved by the winds and storms that buffet it.
It's about maintaining equanimity, not allowing external circumstances to dictate our emotional state or compromise our values.
Precisely. He emphasizes that this requires sacrificing our lower selves and our passionate desires. It's about transcending the ego's need for gratification and seeking fulfillment in something greater than ourselves. Imagine a sculptor chiseling away at a block of stone, removing the unnecessary pieces to reveal the beautiful form hidden within. Similarly, we need to chisel away at our ego's attachments and desires, refining ourselves to reveal our true spiritual potential.
It's a powerful message that encourages us to detach from the fleeting desires of this world and cultivate a deeper connection with the divine. Shall we delve into another advice?
Yes, let's explore advice number 21, the ignorant Sufi. This one seems to be addressing some misconceptions about Sufism and those who claim to follow this path.
Sufism, for those unfamiliar, is a mystical dimension of Islam that emphasizes inner purification and a direct experience of the divine.
Yes, and the Sheikh is speaking here to those who claim to be Sufis, but are still entangled in worldly desires and behaviors. He's calling out the hypocrisy of those who use the label of Sufism to justify their indulgence in worldly pleasures rather than genuinely seeking spiritual purification. It's like someone wearing a doctor's coat but lacking the knowledge and skills to heal.
It's about emphasizing that true Sufism is not about outward appearances or claims, but about a deep inner transformation that aligns our thoughts, words, and actions with the divine will.
He also criticizes those who try to guide others spiritually without having attained true knowledge and experience themselves. He compares them to a blind person trying to lead others through a dark forest or a deaf person trying to teach others music. He's emphasizing that spiritual guidance should come from those who have genuinely walked the path and attained a level of wisdom and understanding that allows them to guide others effectively.
It's a reminder that true spiritual authority comes from embodying the teachings and living a life that reflects the divine qualities.
He stresses that true Sufism involves attaining faith, experiencing knowledge of God, and achieving a state of closeness to the divine. Only then can someone guide others effectively. It's like a master craftsman who has honed their skills over years of practice and dedication.
It's about walking the talk, embodying the principles of Sufism in one's own life before attempting to guide others. Shall we explore another piece of advice?
Let's discuss advice number 23, the intelligent person. It offers insights into what constitutes true happiness and fulfillment.
This is a topic that has fascinated philosophers and spiritual seekers for centuries. What does the Sheikh have to say about this?
He argues that intelligent people don't seek happiness in worldly possessions or pleasures, such as children, family, wealth, food, clothing, vehicles, or sexual gratification. He's not saying that these things are inherently bad or that we shouldn't enjoy them. He's simply pointing out that they're not the source of true and lasting happiness.
So he's challenging the common societal notion that happiness is found in external acquisitions and experiences. We're often conditioned to believe that if we just acquire enough things, achieve enough goals, or experience enough pleasure, we'll finally be happy.
Exactly. He suggests that these things are merely illusions, fleeting experiences that offer temporary satisfaction, but ultimately lead to disappointment. It's like chasing after a rainbow, thinking we can grasp its elusive beauty, only to find that it disappears as we approach. True happiness, he argues, is found in something deeper, something more enduring.
So where does true happiness lie, according to the Sheikh?
He emphasizes that true believers find happiness in the strength of their faith, their certainty in God, and their closeness to the divine. This type of happiness is not dependent on external circumstances. It's an inner state of peace, contentment, and joy that arises from connecting with something greater than ourselves. Imagine a deep wellspring of water that flows endlessly, providing sustenance and refreshment. That's what the Sheikh is describing, a source of happiness that's inexhaustible and always available to those who seek it.
It's about shifting our focus from the external to the internal, finding joy and contentment in our relationship with God, rather than in fleeting worldly pursuits. Shall we delve into another advice?
Let's explore advice number 25, the reality of your life. It's a powerful reminder of our mortality and the importance of preparing for the afterlife.
This is a theme that can be both sobering and inspiring. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and forget about our ultimate destination.
Exactly. The Sheikh reminds us that the comforts and pleasures of this world are temporary, like a passing breeze or a fading sunset. He describes how our physical abilities will decline as we age, and our worldly attachments will lose their appeal.
It's a reminder that youth, beauty, and worldly possessions are fleeting. We can't hold on to them forever.
He also highlights the importance of accumulating good deeds for the hereafter. These deeds are like seeds that we plant in this life, which will blossom into fruits and flowers in the afterlife, providing us with sustenance and joy. He contrasts the welcoming embrace of a good afterlife filled with beauty, peace, and closeness to God with the harsh reality of a grave and hellfire for those who neglect their spiritual obligations.
It's a powerful call to live with intention, to make choices that will benefit us not just in this life, but also in the next. Our actions have consequences both in this world and the next.
He ends by urging his listeners to learn from his guidance and follow his example in prioritizing the hereafter over the fleeting pleasures of this world. It's a reminder that we have a choice in how we live our lives and that our choices have eternal consequences.
Let's delve into advice number 26 on dua. This one delves into the importance of prayer and communication with God.
He begins by encouraging us to make a conscious effort to know God before death comes to us. It's about actively seeking knowledge of the divine, reflecting on his attributes, and deepening our understanding of his nature. He emphasizes that this knowledge is not merely intellectual, but experiential. It's about cultivating a heart-centered awareness of God's presence in our lives.
It's like meeting someone for the first time. You might know their name and some basic information about them, but it's through spending time with them, engaging in conversation and sharing experiences that you truly get to know them.
Exactly. He stresses the importance of seeking God's help and guidance through prayer both day and night. Prayer is like a lifeline that connects us to the divine, allowing us to express our gratitude, seek forgiveness, and request guidance and support. He reminds us that prayer is not simply about asking for things, but about cultivating a state of surrender and trust in God's will.
Prayer is such a powerful practice, a way to connect with something greater than ourselves and seek solace and guidance amidst life's challenges.
He also reminds us that making a request to God is an act of worship in itself, regardless of whether He grants our request or not. It's about recognizing His power, surrendering to His will, and acknowledging that He knows what's best for us, even when we don't understand it.
It's about cultivating an attitude of humility and trust in God's plan, even when we don't understand it.
He also emphasizes the importance of having a positive attitude when making requests to God. We should avoid harboring doubts, becoming impatient for a response, or getting tired of asking. He reminds us that God knows what's best for us, even if it doesn't align with our immediate desires. Imagine a child asking their parent for a treat. The parent might say no, not because they don't love their child, but because they know it's not good for them. Similarly, God might not grant our request because He has a better plan for us, one that we might not fully understand in the moment.
It's a beautiful message of surrender and trust in God's wisdom and mercy. Shall we explore another advice?
Let's dive into advice number 27 on helping the beggars. This one highlights the importance of compassion and generosity towards those in need.
This is a theme that's woven throughout the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. Compassion and generosity are essential aspects of Islamic spirituality.
Absolutely. The Sheikh reminds us that our wealth is not truly ours, but rather a trust from God that we're meant to share with those less fortunate. Imagine a flowing river that brings life and abundance wherever it goes. Similarly, our wealth is meant to flow, to circulate, and to benefit not just ourselves, but also those in need. He emphasizes the importance of sharing our food with our neighbors, beggars, and guests. These acts of kindness, even if they seem small, can have a profound impact on those who are struggling.
It's about recognizing that everything we have is a gift from God, and that we have a responsibility to use it wisely and compassionately.
He also warns against turning away beggars, as it could lead to spiritual consequences. He reminds us that God is always ready to enrich us, and that turning away those in need might lead to God making life more difficult for us. It's not about fear of punishment, but rather about understanding the interconnectedness of our actions and recognizing that kindness and generosity create a positive ripple effect in the world.
It's a reminder that our actions have consequences, both in this world and the next. What about the next advice?
Let's take a look at advice number 28. Love for Allah Almighty.
Love for God is such a beautiful and profound concept, the very essence of spirituality. What insights does the Shaykh offer on this topic?
He explains that those who truly love God surrender their own will and desires to His will. It's not about blind obedience or suppressing our individuality. It's about recognizing that our own limited perspective often obscures the greater good. By surrendering to God's will, we align ourselves with a higher purpose and open ourselves to a deeper level of love and fulfillment.
It's about recognizing that our own desires are often limited, and that aligning ourselves with God's will leads to greater fulfillment and happiness.
He also criticizes those who claim to love God but go to sleep at night and forget about Him. He reminds us that true love for God is not a passive emotion, but an active state of being. It's about constantly remembering Him, seeking His guidance, and striving to live in accordance with His will, even when it's challenging.
It's a powerful reminder that true love for God requires constant remembrance and an unwavering focus on our relationship with Him, even in the midst of daily life.
He emphasizes that those who truly love God are always aware of Him, constantly seeking to please Him and to live in a way that reflects their love and devotion. It's like being in love with someone. You think about them constantly. You want to spend time with them, and you delight in doing things that make them happy.
It's about cultivating a state of constant awareness and connection with the divine, a state that permeates every aspect of our being. Shall we delve into another advice?
Let's explore advice number 29. Conceal the faults of others. This one focuses on the importance of kindness, compassion, and discretion in our interactions with others.
This is such a valuable lesson, especially in a world where it's so easy to criticize and judge others.
Absolutely. The Sheikh observes that many people are quick to expose the faults of others while concealing their good qualities. He criticizes this behavior, reminding us that we should treat others with compassion and overlook their shortcomings. It's like looking at a beautiful tapestry and focusing only on the tiny flaws, ignoring the overall beauty and artistry.
It's about recognizing that everyone makes mistakes, and that we should focus on supporting each other's growth and well-being rather than highlighting each other's flaws.
He suggests that if we were truly aware of God and his attributes, we would treat his creation with more kindness and understanding. It's about recognizing the divine spark within each person, regardless of their imperfections.
It's like seeing a rough diamond, recognizing its inherent beauty and potential even before it's been polished and refined.
He also emphasizes that if we truly knew God and recognized him as the source of all blessings, we would be less inclined to seek recognition or praise from others. Our focus would be on pleasing God and expressing gratitude to him for his countless blessings.
It's a powerful reminder to shift our attention from seeking validation from others to cultivating a deeper connection with the divine. Shall we explore another advice?
Let's discuss advice number 30, wake up and pay attention. This one is a powerful call to action, urging us to be mindful of our spiritual state and prepare for the hereafter.
This sounds like a wake-up call for those who might be sleepwalking through life, neglecting their spiritual responsibilities.
Yes, he uses strong imagery to emphasize the urgency of his message. He describes the spiritual state of many people as being naked, exposed, and vulnerable. Their faith is tattered, their hearts are ignorant and confused, and they're wandering aimlessly through life, distracted by fleeting pleasures and pursuits. He reminds us that death can come at any moment, like a thief in the night, and that we should be prepared for our meeting with God.
It's a reminder to prioritize our spiritual well-being and not get caught up in the distractions of this world. We need to wake up from our spiritual slumber and make the most of the time we have to cultivate our relationship with God.
He urges us to reflect on our actions, to make amends for any wrongdoing, and to prepare for what lies ahead. He reminds us that our choices in this life have eternal consequences. Imagine a traveler embarking on a long journey. They wouldn't set out without provisions, a map, and a clear destination in mind. Similarly, we're all on a spiritual journey, and we need to equip ourselves with the provisions of faith, knowledge, and good deeds to reach our ultimate destination.
It's a powerful call to live with intention and to make choices that will benefit us not just in this world, but also in the next.
He emphasizes that death could come at any moment, even within the hour, disrupting our plans and expectations. It's a stark reminder to live each day as if it were our last, and to make the most of the time we have to cultivate our relationship with God and prepare for the afterlife.
Shall we explore another advice?
Let's dive into advice number 31, the elite saints. This one offers insights into the different levels of spiritual attainment and the qualities of those who are closest to God.
This is a fascinating topic that often inspires both awe and curiosity. What does the Sheikh say about these elite saints?
He describes how some saints experience the blessings of paradise in this world. They taste its exquisite fruits, savor its refreshing drinks, and witness its breathtaking beauty. It's like a glimpse into the afterlife, a taste of the eternal bliss that awaits those who have attained spiritual excellence.
It's a reminder that spiritual enlightenment can bring about extraordinary experiences and a glimpse into the realities of the afterlife.
He also mentions those who have transcended the need for food and drink, detaching from worldly desires and becoming invisible to the ordinary eye. Their hearts are so pure, their spirits so refined, that they blend seamlessly with the divine realm, becoming hidden from the gaze of those who are still attached to the material world.
It's a fascinating concept that suggests the possibility of hidden spiritual dimensions and individuals who have attained a level of spiritual mastery that makes them invisible to those who are less spiritually aware.
He differentiates between ordinary saints and elite saints, highlighting that elite saints are a small minority whose favor is sought by everyone. They're like beacons of light, illuminating the path for others and inspiring them to seek spiritual excellence.
It's about recognizing the hierarchy of spiritual attainment and the profound impact that those who are closest to God have on the world.
He also emphasizes the role of elite saints in bringing about blessings for humanity, such as fruitful harvests, rainfall, and protection from disasters. It's like a garden filled with vibrant flowers and lush vegetation, nourished by the sun's life-giving rays. Similarly, the presence of these elite saints brings blessings and abundance to the world, nurturing spiritual growth and inspiring acts of kindness and compassion.
It's a reminder that our connection to God and those who are closest to Him can have a ripple effect, positively impacting not just our own lives, but also the world around us. Shall we delve into another advice? Let's explore advice number 32, during trials and tribulations. This one offers guidance on navigating life's challenges with grace and resilience.
The Sheikh reminds us that challenges are an inevitable part of life, like the changing seasons or the ebb and flow of the tides. We can't avoid them, but we can choose how we respond to them.
Our attitude and perspective play a key role in how we experience challenges. Do we see them as obstacles or opportunities for growth?
He advises us to face trials and tribulations with faith, patience, and submission to God's will. It's about recognizing that God doesn't burden us with more than we can bear and that He has a plan for us, even when we don't understand it. Imagine a ship sailing through rough seas. The waves toss and turn it, the winds buffet it, but the captain stays focused on the compass and the destination, trusting that the storm will eventually pass. Similarly, when we face challenges, we need to hold on to our faith, knowing that God is with us, guiding us through the storm.
It's about recognizing that challenges can be opportunities for spiritual growth and that facing them with faith and courage can deepen our relationship with the divine.
He also cautions against running away from God when we're faced with difficulties. He reminds us that true solace and strength are found in turning towards God, not away from Him. It's like a child who runs to their parent for comfort and protection when they're scared or hurt. Similarly, when we're facing challenges, we should turn to God, seeking His guidance, mercy, and support.
It's about remembering that we're not alone in our struggles and that God is always with us, ready to help us through difficult times.
He also highlights the importance of seeking guidance from a qualified spiritual mentor during times of hardship. Imagine you're lost in a dense forest. You could wander aimlessly, hoping to find your way out, or you could seek the help of an experienced guide who knows the terrain and can lead you safely to your destination. Similarly, a spiritual mentor can help us make sense of our challenges, offer practical advice, and encourage us to stay connected to God when we're feeling lost or overwhelmed.
It's about recognizing that we don't have to go through difficult times alone, and that seeking support from those who have walked the path before us can be invaluable. What's next on our list of advices?
Let's discuss advice number 33, good attitude. This one emphasizes the importance of our disposition and behavior in both our relationship with God and our interactions with others.
Our attitude plays such a significant role in our overall well-being and how we experience the world. What insights does the Sheikh offer on cultivating a positive attitude?
He suggests that if we truly knew Him and understood His teachings, we would always seek to be in His presence and follow His guidance, regardless of the circumstances. It's about recognizing the value of connecting with those who embody wisdom and spiritual insight, seeking to learn from them and allowing their positive energy to influence our own thoughts and actions.
It's like basking in the warmth of the sun, feeling its life-giving rays nourish and revitalize us. Similarly, spending time with those who radiate spiritual light can uplift our spirits and inspire us to live more meaningful lives.
He acknowledges that he might test his followers by putting them through various trials, such as making them work hard, giving them wealth, or taking it away, or making their lives easy or difficult. These tests aren't meant to punish us, but rather to refine our character, strengthen our faith, and deepen our connection with God.
It's a reminder that spiritual growth often involves tests and challenges that are designed to help us evolve and become the best versions of ourselves.
He emphasizes that the key to navigating these tests successfully is to maintain a positive attitude and good behavior toward God. He suggests that without these qualities, we won't fully benefit from His teachings or companionship. It's like a student who approaches their studies with enthusiasm and a willingness to learn. They're more likely to absorb the material, excel in their exams, and achieve their academic goals.
It's about approaching our spiritual journey with sincerity, humility, and a willingness to learn and grow even when things are challenging. What's the next piece of advice we should explore?
Let's dive into advice number 34, an unclean heart. This one delves into the importance of inner purity and the impact of sinful actions on our spiritual state.
This is a theme that's explored in many spiritual traditions. The idea that our inner state is reflected in our outer actions and that true purity comes from within.
The Sheikh emphasizes that outward cleanliness is meaningless if the heart is impure. He criticizes those who focus on ritualistic cleansing while neglecting the purification of their hearts. It's like polishing the exterior of a car while ignoring the engine. It might look shiny and new on the outside, but it won't function properly if the engine is dirty and neglected.
It's a reminder that true spirituality is not about external rituals, but about cultivating a pure heart and a sincere connection with God.
He states that sinful actions create a foul odor that's perceptible to those who have spiritual insight. It's like a rotten apple that contaminates the entire basket. Similarly, our sinful actions can pollute our hearts and create a negative energy that affects those around us.
It's a reminder to be mindful of our thoughts, words, and actions, recognizing that they have an impact not only on ourselves, but also on those around us.
He also highlights the importance of having a tolerant and forgiving attitude toward others, even when we're aware of their shortcomings. It's about recognizing that everyone is on their own spiritual journey, and that we should approach each other with compassion and understanding. Imagine a garden filled with a variety of flowers, each with its unique beauty and fragrance. Similarly, humanity is diverse, with each individual possessing their own strengths and weaknesses. We should appreciate this diversity and learn from each other, rather than judging or condemning those who are different from us.
It's a beautiful image of acceptance and understanding, a reminder to embrace the richness and complexity of the human experience. Shall we explore another advice?
Let's discuss advice number 35, spirituality without the Sharia. This one addresses a common misconception, particularly among those who focus solely on the mystical aspects of Islam while neglecting its foundational principles.
This is an important distinction to make, as true spirituality should encompass both the inner and outer dimensions of faith.
The Sheikh criticizes those who engage in spiritual practices without proper knowledge and understanding of Islamic law. He points out that this can lead to misguided interpretations and potentially harmful practices. It's like attempting to build a house without a blueprint or foundation. The structure might appear impressive at first, but it's likely to be unstable and collapse under pressure.
It's a reminder that spiritual exploration should be grounded in a solid foundation of knowledge and guidance from those who are qualified to teach. We need to understand the principles and guidelines before we can safely and effectively explore the deeper dimensions of faith.
He emphasizes that true spirituality should be aligned with the principles of Islamic law, as it provides the framework for ethical conduct and a balanced approach to spiritual growth. It's like a tree that grows tall and strong, its branches reaching towards the heavens, but its roots firmly grounded in the earth.
It's about integrating the inner and outer dimensions of faith, ensuring that our spiritual practices are guided by wisdom and a deep understanding of Islamic teachings. Shall we delve into another advice?
Let's explore advice number 36, pretense of piety. This one is a powerful call to authenticity, urging us to be genuine in our religious practice rather than simply putting on a show for others.
This is a theme that's relevant to all spiritual paths, the danger of hypocrisy and the importance of aligning our inner and outer selves.
The Sheikh criticizes those who outwardly appear to be devout Muslims, but whose hearts are filled with hypocrisy and unlawful desires. It's like wearing a mask to conceal our true identity. We might fool others for a while, but ultimately we're only deceiving ourselves.
It's a reminder that God sees our hearts, and that true piety is about internal transformation, not just external actions.
He emphasizes that while outward adherence to Islamic law may protect us from punishment in this world, it won't shield us from the consequences of our actions in the afterlife. It's like building a house on a foundation of sand. It might stand for a while, but it will eventually crumble and collapse.
It's about recognizing that true accountability lies with God, and that we should strive to live authentically both in our public and private lives.
He also points out that while those who are pretending to be pious might deceive ordinary people, they can't hide their true nature from those who have spiritual insight. It's like trying to hide a rotten apple in a basket of fresh fruit. The discerning eye will quickly spot the decay and discard it.
It's a reminder that our actions speak louder than words, and that authenticity is ultimately more important than appearances.
He emphasizes that true piety is about aligning our inner and outer selves, ensuring that our actions are a reflection of a pure heart and a sincere connection with God. It's about stripping away the masks and facades, revealing our true selves, and allowing God's light to shine through us.
This is a powerful message that encourages us to be mindful of our intentions and to strive for genuine piety rather than seeking validation or praise from others.
Shall we delve into another advice?
Let's delve into advice number 37, the Holy Quran. This one highlights the importance of engaging with the Quran, both through listening and implementing its teachings.
He urges us to listen attentively to the Quran, allowing its words to penetrate our hearts and minds, and to put its teachings into practice in our daily lives. He emphasizes that God revealed the Quran to guide us to Him, and that by acting upon its teachings, we can draw closer to Him.
The Quran is such a profound and beautiful text, a source of guidance and inspiration for millions of people around the world.
He describes the Quran as having two ends. One end is in God's hand, and the other end is in our hands. By holding on to our end, by implementing its teachings, we can ascend toward God and attain a state of closeness to Him. It's like a rope that connects us to the divine. By holding onto it firmly, we can climb towards the heavens, leaving behind the weight of our worldly attachments.
It's a beautiful analogy that highlights our role in actively engaging with the Quran and using it as a means to draw closer to the divine.
He also describes the Quran as an illuminating sun and encourages us to place it in the houses of our hearts, allowing its light to guide us through the darkness of ignorance and delusion. He criticizes those who neglect the Quran, comparing them to people who put out the lamps and wander in darkness. They're missing out on the guidance, wisdom, and spiritual nourishment that the Quran offers.
It's a powerful reminder that the Quran is a source of light and guidance, and that by neglecting it, we're choosing to stumble in darkness rather than walk in the light of divine revelation.
He emphasizes that the Quran is not simply a book to be read, but a guide to be lived. It's a source of wisdom and guidance that can transform our lives if we allow it to penetrate our hearts and shape our actions.
It's about approaching the Quran with reverence and a sincere desire to understand its teachings and implement them in our daily lives. Shall we delve into another piece of advice?
Yes, let's explore advice number 38 on Ramadan. This one offers insights into the spiritual significance of the month of Ramadan and how to make the most of this special time.
Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic lunar calendar, a time of fasting, prayer, and reflection for Muslims worldwide.
The Sheikh highlights the multifaceted blessings of Ramadan, explaining the spiritual meanings associated with each letter of the word Ramadan in Arabic.
That's a fascinating approach. What does he say about each letter?
He explains that the initial Ra stands for God's mercy and compassionate kindness, highlighting the abundant forgiveness and blessings available during this month. The Mim represents recompense, love, and grace, signifying the rewards and spiritual closeness that come from sincere worship.
It's beautiful how he's connecting the linguistic elements of the word to its deeper spiritual meanings.
The Dad stands for guarantee, assuring us of the spiritual rewards associated with fasting and other acts of worship during Ramadan. The Aleph represents intimate affection and closeness to God, highlighting the opportunity to deepen our connection with the divine during this special time. And the Nun stands for light and receiving benefits, emphasizing the illumination and spiritual nourishment that come from sincere devotion during Ramadan.
It's a beautiful reminder, the multifaceted blessings of Ramadan, and the importance of approaching this month with intention and a sincere desire to draw closer to God.
He also emphasizes the importance of sharing our blessings with the poor and needy during Ramadan, highlighting that generosity and compassion are essential aspects of this month's spiritual practice.
It's about recognizing that true spirituality is not just about personal piety, but also about extending kindness and support to those who are struggling. What else does he emphasize?
He reminds us that Ramadan includes Laylat al-Qadr, the night of power, which is considered the most blessed night of the year. He highlights the importance of seeking this night through prayer and devotion, as it's believed that the rewards for worship on this night are greater than the rewards for 1,000 months of worship.
It's a powerful reminder to make the most of this special time by engaging in acts of worship, seeking forgiveness, and deepening our connection with God.
He also encourages us to reflect on the deeper meaning of fasting, recognizing that it's not just about abstaining from food and drink, but about purifying our hearts and cultivating spiritual discipline.
It's about using this time to break free from unhealthy habits, both physical and spiritual, and to realign ourselves with what truly matters. Shall we delve into another advice? Let's explore advice number 39, sincerity in everything. This one seems to go to the heart of what it means to live an authentic spiritual life.
Yes. The Sheikh really hits on a key point here. He emphasizes that sincerity is the foundation of all spiritual progress. He even shares a powerful analogy to illustrate this point.
I'm always drawn to stories and analogies. What's the analogy he uses?
He describes a father testing his son by locking him out of the house. The son, instead of complaining to the neighbors or giving up patiently, waits at the doorstep. The father, impressed by his son's sincerity and loyalty, opens the door, embraces him, and showers him with kindness.
That's a beautiful analogy. How does he connect it to the concept of sincerity?
He suggests that just as the son's sincere and patient behavior earned him his father's favor, our sincerity in our relationship with God is essential for drawing closer to Him and receiving His blessings.
So it's not just about going through the motions of religious practice, but about approaching everything we do, both spiritual and worldly, with a pure heart and a sincere desire to please God.
He emphasizes that without sincerity, we won't experience true spiritual growth or closeness to God, no matter how many rituals or good deeds we perform. It's about aligning our intentions with our actions and living in a way that reflects our love and devotion to God.
It's a powerful reminder to check our intentions and make sure that our actions are motivated by a genuine desire to please God, rather than by a desire for recognition or praise from others.
It's about cultivating a state of inner purity and allowing it to permeate every aspect of our lives. What about the final advice from Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani in this collection?
Let's wrap up with advice number 40. Speech of an inner pearl. What's the key message in this advice?
He once again addresses the issue of hypocrisy, reminding us that it can subtly take root in our hearts without us even realizing it. He urges us to surrender our ego, repent for our shortcomings, and break free from the chains of disbelief and insincerity.
It's a reminder that spiritual growth is an ongoing process that requires constant self-reflection and purification. We need to be vigilant in guarding our hearts against negativity and striving to maintain a state of sincerity and purity.
He encourages us to be rational and discerning, assuring us that we'll see the truth clearly once we've cleared away the dust of delusion and negativity from our hearts and minds. It's about cultivating a discerning mind that can distinguish between truth and falsehood, right and wrong, and beneficial and harmful.
It's about cultivating clarity and discernment, both in our understanding of spiritual teachings and in our perception of the world around us.
He concludes by emphasizing that those who sincerely listen to his teachings, put them into practice, and maintain a pure heart will draw near to God. He refers to his words as a speech of an inner pearl containing no outer shell, highlighting the depth and sincerity of his message.
It's a beautiful way to end this collection of advices, emphasizing the importance of internalizing and embodying the teachings rather than simply adhering to outward forms.
It's a reminder that true spiritual transformation comes from a deep inner connection with God, a connection that's fostered through sincerity, humility, and a willingness to surrender to his will.
It's been an incredible journey exploring the wisdom of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Gilani. What a timeless roadmap for spiritual growth.
His insights into the human condition, the importance of sincerity, knowledge, and prioritizing our relationship with God are as relevant today as they were centuries ago. His emphasis on navigating the deceptive allure of the material world resonates deeply in our current age of consumerism and materialism.
Yes, his 40 advices are full of gems that can help us live more meaningful lives, no matter our background or beliefs.
As you go about your day, dear listener, consider how these advices can inform your choices, help you find deeper meaning in your own life journey, and guide you towards a more fulfilling and spiritually awakened existence.
It's been a pleasure joining you on this deep dive.
Until next time.